quick video. We'll say I'm doing another unboxing, first impressions, and update video. It's also a candidate for a cheap but good fragrance, as I did find it for under $35 on eBay from the house of Hugo Boss. We have Hugo Reversed. So Hugo Reversed from the house of Hugo Boss is a fresh, citrusy, woody, aromatic fragrance released in 2019. I don't know the nose behind this fragrance, and it's an eau de toilette concentration. All right, let's check out the presentation. All right, so here's the box for Hugo Reversed. This is a tester box, but fortunately it does resemble the actual box that it comes in. We just have a outline of the bottle here. It does say Hugo backwards, the word reversed. Other than that, just a little bit of information on a plain white box, but other than that, not too much going on with this box. Let's check out the bottle. All right, so here's the bottle for Hugo Reversed. If you guys are familiar with the Hugo line that comes in this type of bottle, it does come like in a canteen style bottle with a plastic cap that does spin off here. It does have a piece of fabric. The original came out a long time ago, back when I was in high school. I really did like that fragrance. I haven't tried it in a while, but that one, the original one came with a similar bottle with a canteen style bottle. And it has I believe it's a piece of fabric. This one here might be plastic, but I thought the old one was fabric. We do have a thread here in black, silver atomizer. You know, kind of a dated bottle, but still a cool bottle from the house of Hugo Boss. All right, so here are the notes for Hugo Reversed. In the top, we have bergamot and grapefruit. In the mid, we have rosemary and pamplewood. And in the base, we round things off with vetiver. Yeah, so I have a little bit of experience with the house of Hugo Boss. Like I mentioned before, I did try the original back in high school. Very, very old fragrance, but I believe it still smells really good. Again, it's been a while since I've tried it, but I'm pretty sure as soon as I smelled it, I would remember it in 2 seconds. But, you know, Hugo Boss, they put out a couple of good fragrances here and there. They put out another version of, came in a similar bottle. I believe it came in a black bottle. It was like a spicy sort of apple, darker fragrance. I can't remember what it was called, but I kind of like that one. And then they have like a private line that Hugo Boss put out, and I think I've tried a couple of those. But other than that, I really haven't had too much experience with this house. This one did get a lot of talk last year. Everyone was saying this is probably the darling from the house, or at least it's been a long time since they put out anything really, really good. And people were talking about this one being under the radar, hidden gem. They're comparing this one to Elysium from Roja Dove. So, and I actually own that fragrance, so I should be able to tell you guys if I get that. I wouldn't mind if it smelled like Roja Dove, because maybe it'd be a cheaper alternative to that. Again, I did find this one for 35 or under 35 bucks on eBay. Now, some people are still selling for quite a bit online. But I did find it for, I think it was like $32 shipped for a big 4.2 ounce bottle. So that's a deal. Again, I know some of you guys don't trust eBay. Just look at their seller rating. I've never had any issues. But looking forward to trying this fragrance, hoping it does, you know, kind of go with the hype. Everyone was talking about this one, like I said, a year ago. Again, it'd be cool if it smelled like Roja Dove, Elysium. So let's give this fragrance a first impression. All right, take off the cap here. Spin off the cap. Clean hand. Here we go. Whew, really good sprayer. Okay. Definitely seeing where they get the Roja Dove comparison. I'm guessing it's the vetiver note in this and the citrus notes. Elysium has way better quality off the bat. I can just tell the difference already, but this is not a bad fragrance. Definitely getting all the grapefruit, all the bergamot. That's like number one right there. Very, very sharp. I'm getting the pamplewood again. I don't know what pamplewood is, but we're just going to call it the wood note. I'm getting the wood notes in this. The rosemary is giving a bit of that greenness, a little bit of that sharpness, that bite, a little of that herbalness you get from rosemary. And I'm getting the vetiver. It's a very minimalistic composition here, so you can get every note here. I'm not familiar with pamplewood, but I'm getting a woody note in this. I'm assuming that's what it is. This one is a bit more, this is definitely masculine. So again, if you guys like Elysium from Roja Dove, you might like this one. I will say it goes along those lines. That one I think is a way better composition, way higher quality. This one's no slouch. They're just not identical. This one's very sharp. We're getting a lot of that rosemary. So it's green, but it's not making me think green. It just smells very bushy, very herbally. But it's very sharp. Smells like it might have decent staying power. This is going to be a summer fragrance through and through. In spring, warmer weather fragrance. I can already probably tell you guys that right now. So I imagine in the warmer weather, this one's going to really shine. But it smells like it has I mean, it's only been a couple of minutes, guys, and I say it all the time, but you can just tell sometimes. When you smell a fragrance, you can just tell that it might have a little more pop compared to a couple of other fresh fragrances that you've tried before that are similar. But again, it's only been the first couple of minutes. That could easily change. That's why I do the update, but yeah, this one's really sharp. Not sure if that's going to turn people off. I love the citrus notes in this. Man, but that rosemary is really taking over right now. It's taking the place of the bergamot notes and the grapefruit, and those are kind of falling off. Right now I'm getting a lot of the rosemary and a lot of the vetiver. So this one's definitely smelling mature, spicy, fresh, and green. I can see why people liked this one. I didn't, again, I haven't smelled too many really good fragrances that come in this same bottle. So I'm gonna imagine they're gonna be in the same line, the same Hugo line, just different, spin-offs or flankers. So this one is definitely worth talking about. So I can see why people were talking about this, especially since it's kind of hard to find nice fresh fragrances out there that are kind of the same. And again, this one isn't groundbreaking. It's not completely original, but it does remind me of a couple of other things, or at least I can just tell the composition has been done before. So not groundbreaking, but I like it. Yeah, this one's getting staying very green. Sharp right now is going to be very key. It has a lot of bite and a lot of sharpness to it. Yeah, this one almost smells a bit coppery. Almost like there's ginger in this. I didn't see any ginger in the notes. Maybe another website has ginger in this, but there's something in this that gives it a bit of like that copper tinny sort of smell you get from ginger, and that might be where I'm sort of getting that chemical smell from. That might be where I'm getting that from. It's actually lending it to kind of lean towards a ginger type of smell, but I mean, ginger is only a deal breaker when it smells too coppery to my nose. But right now, this isn't bad. Very masculine. I will say it's very masculine though. It's not sweet. The citrus notes have faded. It's all that rosemary, the woody note, and the vetiver with a little bit of that copper, tinny, or even chemically type of smell that you would get from ginger. But there's no ginger in this, I'm just saying. But I'm sort of getting that. That's what I'm left with, and I'm assuming that's what's sort of going to be left here until the vetiver just sort of takes over in the dry down. Yeah, but I mean, I'm not in love with this fragrance. It's not a love at first sniff, but I like it. Especially for 30, 35 bucks. This isn't a bad fragrance. You get a lot of juice for $35. 4.2 ounces is a lot of juice. And since it's so hard to find decent performing fresh fragrances for a good price, this one might be, worth a shot. Again, it's just the first half of the video. I'm going to wear this fragrance tonight, and over the next few days, give you guys an update shortly. Talk to you then. All right, guys, I'm back with my update for Hugo Reversed from the house of Hugo Boss. So I did spend the last few days with this fragrance, and I gotta say, I do like this fragrance. Again, going back to the first half of the video, it's not groundbreaking. It's really nothing special, but I will say for the price, it is something special. Again, I did compare this one to Elysium. People were comparing it. I do agree. Not exact, but enough that you can say, okay, this is a designer version of Elysium, which is not a bad thing to say. It's actually a pretty good compliment or a pretty good comparison if you think about it. Again, if you get these side by side, you can be like, okay, they're not the same. But going off of memory, and I own it, I do get some of the same aspects. So I would say it is closest to anything I can think of. It's probably going to be that one. Now, I didn't pick up that ginger note, like I think I mentioned in the first half. I know there's no ginger in this, but if you guys are familiar with that copper kind of tinny ginger note, you will get that in this. Not sure if I was the biggest fan of that. That sort of gave off a little bit of that Sauvage and Broxton type of feel, sort of that loudness, but it was toned down, but you still sort of got like that kind of loudness that you got that in Broxton or ginger sometimes brings to the table, but it wasn't a lot, and I know that those notes aren't in this fragrance, but that's probably the only downside to this fragrance. Other than that, this fragrance is pretty good. I did get complimented by Christy. She said she really liked this one. She likes Elysium as well whenever I wear that one. So again, she did like this one, so that was a positive as well. And not too many bad things I can really say about this fragrance, and I'm glad I got a chance to try it. Longevity for this fragrance, well, for a designer citrus fragrance, I did get about 6 hours for this fragrance, so that's slightly above average. Considering most citrus fragrances don't usually pass the 4-hour mark, depending on if they're niche or not, or just you got to pay more money for it to last longer usually. But this one, yeah, did get 6 hours consistently with this fragrance. The atomizer does spray a lot of juice, so if you want it to last a little bit longer, probably just spray a few extra sprays, or go ahead and spray your clothes. Projection for this fragrance, well, unlike the longevity, I did get about average projection for this fragrance. The first hour was probably the strongest, maybe an hour and a half, which is pretty par for the course when it comes to these kind of fragrances. But it was, it was decent little scent bubble for the first hour, hour and a half. This one does stick around; it just gets a lot closer to the skin, so you're gonna see your best projection in the first hour and a half. Seasons for this fragrance, well, if you guys haven't guessed already, this one will be the best for the warmer and hotter months of the year. So spring, summer, and early fall are going to be your best bet when it comes to seasons for wearing this fragrance. Very nice and fresh and zingy. Definitely get you through those hot days of the warmer months. Occasions for this fragrance, well, initially I did think this fragrance was going to be best for casual day wear with that opening. But as soon as it got a bit more mature and spicy and sharp, and a little zingy, this one sort of did lean towards more like a dress down type of suit and tie. I do think this might be good for all occasions, honestly. I do think it's safe for work. I don't think it's strong enough for a club though, but this one could be worn during the day casually. And I think once it gets a little more mature, about a couple hours in, I do think this one is suit and tie ready. I think this one is business meeting, anything formal. Christy liked it, so I'd say it's probably safe for date night. It's not very sensual or sexy, but she really did like this one, so I think this would be safe for date night. The only place I can't imagine myself wearing this one is the club. Ages for this fragrance, well, I do think the younger guys can easily afford this fragrance if you can get it for $30 to $35 like I found this one. I do think the younger guys could easily afford this one, but whenever it turns mature after about an hour, I do think the younger noses are going to be turned off from this fragrance. Probably going to think it smells too loud or too earthy or just too mature. So I do think 25 up is a safe age range. So I do think they can handle those notes and they can easily afford this one. So overall, I do like this fragrance, and I do think it is a cheap but good fragrance if you can find this one for around $35 or less. If you have to pay any more than that, you don't want to get this fragrance. Honestly, I do like the comparison to Elysium. Again, not exact, but you're not going to find too many things out there that I can think of anyway that smell like it. It does smell really familiar, but honestly, I really couldn't think of anything specifically besides Elysium that really reminded me of this one. Honestly, it's not exact, and it's not even a clone. But earlier in the video I said, okay, this does remind me, or it probably kind of has a similar DNA to a lot of things on the market. I just think it's that similar bergamot opening, with the grapefruit and stuff like that. A lot of fresh fragrances start off like that. You have a lot of vetiver and some green notes in there with that woody notes. A lot of fragrances on the market have that, so that's probably where I was coming from with that. But honestly, at the end of the day, this one does resemble Elysium slightly. So if you guys like that fragrance, I do think you'll like Hugo Reversed. I think it's a safe alternative, even though it's not exact. Guys, please, I don't want to hear it in the comments that you told me this smells just like Elysium. No, it's similar to Elysium, but not exact. But again, for the price that you're paying, and you're getting 125 ml, if you can get it for $35, that is a steal. I do think for that price, this is a cheap but good fragrance for what you're getting. It is very fresh. It's spicy. It's green. It's mature. It just has a lot of things that I like in my fragrances. I turned 40 on Halloween, so I'm officially an old man, officially over that hill. I've come to appreciate more mature fragrances over the last 10 years. And so now I can officially say, hey, I like this one because it does kind of give me what I'm looking for in a fragrance. And, I liked that Christy liked it. All right, guys, so now it's your turn. What are your thoughts on Hugo Reversed? Have you tried this fragrance? Let me know your thoughts on this fragrance down in the comments below. All right, thank you guys so much for watching the video on my channel. If you like this video, please click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications for future first impressions videos and fragrance-related content just like this. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Dollars and Cents. There, you'll find fragrance-related photos and future contest winners. And as always, until next video, you guys take care. Thanks.